Alright, 6th graders, here is lesson 3.2, Explore Division of Fractions with Unlike Denominators. Today we're going to divide two fractions with unlike denominators many different ways. So let's start with the Spark Your Learning. Rosalind is making a stir fry. The recipe calls for 4 cups of broccoli, but Rosalind has only a 2/3 cup measurer. How many measuring cups of broccoli should she add? I want you to pause the video and I want you to try this on your own, and then when you're ready, press play. All right, so she needs 4 cups, but she has 2/3 of a cup. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, and you could have done something different. There's so many different ways to do this. I'm going to draw a picture. Here is 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, and 4 cups. Now she can't use a whole cup because her measuring cup only does 2/3. So I'm gonna break these into thirds. All right, so she has a 2/3 cup. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna use a different color. 5 and 6. So she would have to fill her measuring cup 6 times. So what I did was I said, okay, she needs 4 cups, and that's the black. I broke the black into thirds because she can only measure 2/3 at a time, and then that's what I colored. Each green is 2/3, and then the blue are my extra 2/3. So 6 times is what it would take her. All right, let's go to the next page. Build understanding. Rosalind also needs to add 5 cups of orange juice to make a sauce for her stir fry. If she uses a 1/4 cup measuring cup, how many measuring cups will she need to add? How can you divide 5/8 into groups of 1/4? Complete the following statement. Okay, so remember in our last lesson we talked about common denominators. So we have 5/8 and 1/4. Those are not the same denominator. They want us to change it. They says since 1/4 equals something over 8. So I can change my fraction 1/4 to 8ths by multiplying 4 times 2 is 8. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So that's a 1 times 2 is 2. So 1/4 is the same as 2/8. You can divide 5/8 into groups of blank. So remember, we're dividing the 5/8 and we're using the 1/4 measuring cup. And since we're using 1/4, we said it was 2/8. So we're going to divide 5/8 into groups of 2/8. Use the number line to show groups of 1/4 in 5/8. Okay, so I bet there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they are showing us 8ths. We want 5/8. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's 5/8. And we want groups of 2/8. We have 1 group, 2 groups, and then 1/2 of a group. So if you notice, the next 2/8 would be here. So we only have 1/2. Because here's our 5/8. So I have 2 1/2 groups. How many measuring cups of orange juice will she need to add? Well, I was able to make it into 2 1/2 groups. So I have 2 wholes and then that one that's only a 1/2 of it. So 2 1/2 measuring cups. How many measuring cups of juice will Rosalind need to add if she uses a 1/8 measuring cup or a 3/8 measuring cup? Use your results to complete the first table of the column. The first column of the table, sorry. Okay, so again, she has 5/8. So I'm going to make the picture of 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, and she has 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now if she's going to use a 1/8 cup measurer, well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if she uses a 1/8 cup measurer, she has to do it 5 times. So over on this column, 5/8 divided by 1/8 is just 5. Okay. Then if let's do the same thing, but this time she's going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, same thing. Again, she has 5. She wants 5. Okay, but this time she's going to use a 3/8 cup. So 1 cup. But then the second one would be too much. So she needs 1, and then she just wants 2 parts of the other. So it would be 1 2/3 times. And they want it as a whole fraction over here, not as a whole mixed number. So to change it back, we would do 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. So it would be 5/3. Okay, so I drew pictures and figured out how many groups I could make. So, and on this last one, the yellow was the one she was going to use all of the 3/8 cup on. But then on the next one, if she used 3/8, the whole cup again, she'd have too much. She only needed 2 of the 3/8, so that would be 2/3. All right, E says reciprocals can help you find quotients. You find the reciprocal of a fraction by switching the numerator and the denominator. Complete the following equations with the correct reciprocals. So 1/4 times something gives us 1, because if we take a fraction times its reciprocal, it's always going to equal 1. That's how we know we've done it right. So if we take 1/4 and we turn it upside down, that means that the 4 and the 1 trade places. And 1/4 times 4/1 would be 1. So 1/4's reciprocal is 4/1. All right, something times 1/8 equals 1. Again, it's the reciprocal, so we're going to turn 1/8 upside down, and it's going to become 8/1. 3/8 times something equals 1, the reciprocal. Sometimes these are called the multiplicative inverse. It's the same thing. So we'll take the 3/8 and we'll turn it upside down, and we'll get 8/3. All right, F says, now complete the second column of the table. Look for a pattern in the table to complete the following statements. All right, so now they want us to take our 5/8 and multiply it by something, and we're going to get the same answer as we did in the first column. So what they want us to do, if you notice, they say on that first one, it says 5/8 divided by 1/4. Then it says 5/8 times something, and you see the ones on the bottom? Well, they've taken 1/4 and they've found the reciprocal, so it's 4/1. And then again, 5/8 divided by 1/8, let's find the reciprocal, it's 8/1. 3/8 reciprocal is 8/3. I want you to notice something. When we divided, did we get the same thing as when they multiplied by the reciprocal? Yes, we did. So let's look down on F again. To find the quotient of two fractions, multiply the first fraction by the reciprocal of the second fraction. In each row of the table, the quotient equals the product. So to divide by a fraction, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, to divide fractions, you multiply by reciprocal. Remember, the reciprocal is when you trade the numerator and the denominator. In this example, A over B divided by C over D. So this is an algebraic example where we're going to trade. So we keep the first fraction, A over B, but then C over D needs to become the reciprocal. So we flip it upside down. It becomes D over C, and then you multiply. And if you remember, when we multiply fractions, we just go straight across. So A times D and B times C. Okay? Let's look at the next page. Eric and Tom are making small bows for presents. They will need pieces of ribbon like the ones shown. Each will be cut from a ribbon that is 3/4 yard long. They use two different methods to find the number of 2/9 yard pieces they will need to cut from 3/4 of a yard. All right, so let's look at what Eric did. Eric had 3/4 divided by 2/9. And then if you notice, here's his 2/9, and then all of a sudden he multiplied by 9 over 2. And then 3 times 9 is 27, and 4 times 2 is 8, and then he ended up with 3 3/8. So A says explain Eric's method. He multiplied by the reciprocal. Okay, he changed that second fraction into the reciprocal. Okay, let's look at what Tom did. 3/4 divided by 2/9. Well, he said, I want common denominators. So I saw 4 and 9, and he found the LCM. The LCM is 36. So he said, okay, they're the same. Once you have common denominators, you can ignore them and just divide the numerators. So he said, what's 27 divided by 8? Well, he wrote it then as a fraction, and it ended up with 3 3/8. So Tom found common denominators then he divided the numerators. Okay, so both of them are correct, two different ways. You can pick your favorite way. I personally like Eric's method of multiplying by the reciprocal, but it's completely up to you. C says, how many whole pieces can they cut from their ribbon? Well, if their quotient was 3 3/8, they have 3 whole pieces. What does the fraction 3/8 and the quotient 3 3/8 mean in this situation? The fraction of leftover pieces was 3/8 times 2/9. So they had 3/8 of a piece that they were trying to cut left. And the length that they wanted to make them were 2/9. So they had 3/8 of that 2/9. So let's see how much was actually left. So if we multiply 3 times 2 is 6, and 8 times 9 is 72. So 3/8 is the amount of ribbon left over, or there's 6 over 72 yards left. I want you to decide which method you prefer. So that turn and talk says, whose method do you prefer and why do you prefer it? I want you to decide for yourself, but I will say that I prefer Eric's method, probably because that's what my teachers taught me, but I just think it's easier to find the reciprocal of the second fraction and then just multiply. Again, it's just personal preference, and you can decide what you would like to do. All right, let's look at this last page. Tina feeds her dog 4/7 pound of dog food per day. If she buys a bag containing 9 pounds of dog food, how many days will it last? Right, what expression could you use to solve the problem? So we're going to be dividing this dog food up each day. So how much did we start with? Yeah, so the entire bag was 9 pounds, and we're dividing it each day. How much does the dog get each day? Correct, 4/7. So we're doing 9 divided by 4/7. What do you need to do first to find the quotient? Well, first we're going to change 9 to a fraction. When we have a whole number, all you have to do is make it have a denominator of 1 every time. What do we need to do next? Well, this would be up to you, but I'm going to say that we're going to find reciprocal of 4/7. If you wanted to do common denominators, that's where you would say I would find common denominators. D, complete the number sentence to find the number of days the bag of dog food will last. So remember, it was 9 divided by 4/7. That's what we set up here. Then we said change 9 to a fraction. There it is. Then we said find the reciprocal of 4/7. So we're going to take 4/7. The reciprocal means to turn it upside down. So that's 7 over 4. Now we're going to multiply. That, we just go straight across. 9 times 7. 7 is 63. And then 1 times 4 is 4. So now let's change our improper fraction to a mixed number. This is a division problem. So I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 4 go into 63? If I don't know, I could do it off to the side and say, okay, 4 goes into 6 one time. Subtract, bring down my 3. 4 goes into 23 5 times. There's 3 left over, so that remainder is 3. Okay, so that means I have 15 whole days, and then remember my remainder is 3, so that would be 3/4. Your remainder becomes your numerator, okay? So it will last 15 and 3/4 days. That means that on the 16th day, the dog will only have 3/4 of what it's supposed to have, okay? Okay, I want you to try a little bit more practice before you stop for today. So please do the check your understanding 1 through 6 on your own. So stop the video for right now and then come back and watch it with me and see if you did it correctly. This is practice, something you really need to be able to do on your own. So I want you to practice first. All right, so it's you finished this, and now let's look at number 1. Marcus needs to measure out 2/3 liter of solution. He is using a container that holds 1/6 of a liter. How many groups of 1/6 are in 2/3? How many times will Marcus need to fill the container? So he's doing a 2/3 container divided by 1/6. Okay, so we can do 2/3 times 6 over 1, because I found the reciprocal, and 2 times 3 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. I'm going to simplify that. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So he will have to fill his container 4 times. Roberta bought 9/10 pound of raisins. She put 2/5 pound in the bags for her lunch. How many 2/5 pound bags can Roberta fill? How many does she have any left over? Okay, so again, when we're setting up a problem, we're going to put our whole amount that we have first. So we have 9/10 of a pound. That's what we're splitting or dividing into smaller bags. The smaller bags are 2/5. Remember, if you want, you could find common denominators and just divide the numerators. Remember, Mrs. Katsoulis prefers multiplying by the reciprocal, so that's what I'm going to do. But if you chose to do it the other way, you did not necessarily do it wrong. Let's see if we get the same answer. So I like to multiply by the reciprocal. So 9/10 times, I'm going to flip my second fraction, so that's 5 over 2. Then I'm going to multiply across. 9 times 5 is 45. 10 times 2 is 20. Then I have to ask myself, 20 goes into 45. Well, I know 2 times because that's 40. And then I know there's 5/20ths left over. I can simplify that. Let's see, I can divide 5 by 5. And I can divide 20 by 5. So that would be 20 and 1/4. So how many bags can she fill? She can fill 2 bags. Does she have anything left over? Yes. She has 1/4 of a bag left. So if she wants to only take a little bit of raisins one day, she could do that. All right, and then on 3 through 6, they just had you do the division, no word problem. So if it's 6/10 divided by 2/5, then I would change it to 6/10 times 5/2. Multiply across, that would be 30/20. Divide those by 10 and get 3/2, or you might have done 1.5. Either one was correct. Number 4, 3/8 divided by 1/3. So 3/8 times 3/1, because I had to flip that second fraction. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 8 is 8. 8 goes into 9 one time with 1 left over. 5/9 divided by 2/3. 5/9 times 3/2. I flipped my second fraction. 5 times 3 is 15. 9 times 2 is 18. When I look at those, they both have a common factor. So we did GCF already. That's where this comes in handy, your GCF. So I know I can divide both of these by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. It's important that you always simplify your fractions, all right, every time, or it will be incorrect. All right, 10 divided by 2/5. Remember, we need to put this over 1, so it's 10/1, times, we'll flip 2/5, and it's 5/2. 5 times 10 is 50, and 1 times 2 is 2. I can make this smaller. How many times will 2 go into 50? 25 times. I think you've probably divided fractions, in your past. So we just have to remember that we keep the first fraction and then we multiply by the reciprocal. And to find the reciprocal, you simply turn the fraction upside down. All right, and when you have a word problem, it's important to read it carefully and figure out what is the amount they're starting with. What are they dividing? And whatever's being divided would come first in our problem. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Talk to you later.